For DIY investors, investing can be a confusing thing to navigate. There are so many questions. Questions like, what fund should I invest in? How much of my returns will I lose to fees? How much tax do I have to pay? And how do I calculate what tax I need to pay? Then there are questions like, how do I manage risk? How do I monitor my portfolio? And how do I deal with the prospect of losses? For many DIY investors, it can feel overwhelming, but in this video, I'm going to review an option designed to help you maintain control of your investments, keep the investment process simple, help you monitor your portfolio, and ultimately give more power to your money through low fees. Today, we are reviewing InvestEngine. So let's start this video by being clear about who is going to benefit the most from watching this video. If you're a DIY investor, so your main priority is to retain control of your investments, manage your own portfolios, and keeping your costs low whilst you're at it, this video is made for you. If you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, where you want to have the autonomy of picking your own stocks or maybe even trading, then this video isn't for you. InvestEngine and the way they've built their DIY portfolios, it is really a strategy where you get to invest your money on a monthly basis, you get to set it and pretty much just forget it. Leave it to be invested in the stock market. You can manage your own portfolio, you can rebalance, you can do all kinds of good stuff. So in this video, I'm going to be covering some of the really basic functionalities of the platform itself. I'll give you a bit of a run through. I think that will be helpful because if you haven't used them before, you kind of get to see how it works before you go and sign up with them. And the access that they have to ETFs, there are more and more ETFs that are going to be added to their list, their current list of 150 ETFs. So we'll give you a bit of a run through. I'll cover things like regulation and safety. I'll cover some really important points that I think that they do differently, which is around auto rebalancing your portfolio. That's pretty good. Very, very good indeed. And for people who are worried about how am I going to know when my capital gains tax is due, these guys actually do, and they generate reports for you. So that worry about have I crossed my capital gains tax allowance or not, you don't have to worry about it. They're going to do that work for you. So some really, really good stuff I'm going to show you today. Now, just as a heads up, if you use the link that is pinned in the comment section below and you sign up to InvestEngine, InvestEngine will give you £50 to test out the platform. Now, there are some rules to this. So you don't have to top up your account in order to get access to the £50. You're going to get that the minute you open your account. Now, the rules in order for you to keep the £50 are that you have to top up and invest within 30 days. And you have to remain invested for 12 months. You do that, you're going to get £50 free. So if you're the kind of person where you are looking to maybe get another provider under your belt to help you manage your portfolios, this is a great way to get started, and you're going to get some free money to help you test out the platform and kind of get your feet under the table of how it all works. Again, I'm going to show you some of this. So there is a link that is pinned in the comment section below. Make sure you go and use it. You've got no excuse not to. It's free money at the end of the day. And trust me, the platform is pretty awesome. I'm going to walk you through that as well. Now, one of the key things that I often talk about when I do these reviews is safety and regulation. My mantra is, and this is the rule, a company has to be authorized and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. It means that they're going to be held to high standards. And in doing so, you should also get coverage under the Financial Services Compensation Scheme. Now, with InvestEngine, they are a UK company. They were launched back in 2019. They are authorized and regulated by the FCA, and you will have coverage under the Financial Services Compensation Scheme. Now, when you look at the InvestEngine proposition, they actually have two sub-propositions within the app. The first one is DIY portfolios. The other is managed portfolios. For the purpose of this video, we're going to be focusing purely on DIY portfolios. We might do a separate video where we talk about the managed portfolio service a bit later on down the line. But with this particular portfolio, which is the DIY portfolios, they do have quite a large advantage in the fact that there are 0 fees when you use the DIY portfolio. And this is really important because if you are a DIY investor, you will know that sometimes you're going to have transaction fees, FX fees, all built in. And you know what? These things do reduce your total return over time. With InvestEngine, currently there are zero fees. The only fees you have to be concerned about are the fees from the ETF itself and any spreads that may apply whilst you're making or purchasing this ETF and selling as well for that matter. So in terms of low cost, they are one of the lowest cost ETF platforms in the UK, hands down. That is a big feather in their cap and a huge reason why I believe that they're going to be really successful in attracting people, DIY investors who just want to retain control over their portfolios. Now what I want to do is basically just jump into the platform. I'm going to show you my account. I've already built a portfolio within there. I'm going to talk you through maybe some of the selections of the ETFs that I've chosen, maybe give you a little bit of a rationale why so that you can kind of use that as a benchmark to get you started. One thing I will say is that if you are going to be using people like InvestEngine, and this will be the same if you're using Vanguard as well, you kind of need to have some level of understanding of how funds and ETFs actually work and what to look for in the ETFs. Of course, I'm going to give you some tips here that I think are really important, but you do need to have some level of foundation knowledge at least to get you started so you're not second guessing the choices that you essentially make. That's really important. But let's jump into the platform. I'm going to show you around and basically help you make sense of this if you're going to be interested in jumping on the website and actually signing up and claiming your £50. So let's get going. Okay, so this is my InvestEngine dashboard. And as you can see here, I funded it with £150 right here. It is a DIY portfolio. As you can see, it's self-managed and it says DIY right there. Now, before we jump into my portfolio specifically, I thought I'd show you the support section because the support section is really good. I've just mentioned that you need to kind of have a level of understanding of how you're going to pick these ETFs in order to use them. If you are walking into this and you're completely kind of new and you don't really know what an ETF is and so on and so forth, well, they do have this support section here where you can basically get some help. So if you click on ETFs here, you've got a section that explains what an ETF is, why they use ETFs, what type of ETFs they invest in, how do they select them, what are the risks, so on and so forth. And you've got that across a number of different topics: investments, what a portfolio is, what a model portfolio is, how can you customize. There's lots of stuff here. So if you're not as knowledgeable, or you want to be a little bit more knowledgeable, or you just have a thirst for knowledge, there's nothing wrong with actually visiting this support tab and just going through some of the information you have here. I always think that it's better to know things than not to know it, and maybe know too much than think that you might need something but you don't know it. It's that preventative measure. That's just my personality, I guess. I think people are different, but that's just generally my philosophy. The more I know, I think I feel more confident in that. And I think when you're investing, confidence is really important. So the support section is great. Now let's go on to the dashboard. So this is going into my specific portfolio. Now, yesterday or the day before, I actually selected some ETFs to basically hold within my investments for this £150. Now it says refer a friend, get £25. When you sign up, if you do refer a friend, you can also get £25 as well. So that's a little bit of an added bonus as well. Now I've selected 5 ETFs. I've got the iShares MSCI Emerging Markets. I've got the SPDR Russell 2000. I've got the iShares S&P 500, the Vanguard FTSE Developed World, which is the accumulation, not the distribution ETF. And I've also got some physical gold in here. Now, you do kind of need to understand portfolio construction. So let me just talk about why I've chosen some of these and my philosophy around picking this. It might be of interest to you, but you may also get my rationale and hopefully be able to adopt it into yours. So for me, I think that global exposure is always good, but at the same time, you want to give yourself a little bit of security within your portfolio. At least I do anyway. Some people are happy to have 100% equity portfolios with no hedges or no assets or ETFs that give a little bit of security. For me, my security or my hedge comes by way of physical gold. So this physical gold ETF for me is great. Now, when you look at this, It currently says that there's 0% invested because there's zero money in there. But I have set within my portfolio, and I'll go and tweak this in a moment, a 10% asset allocation within this portfolio to gold, which means that when I invest this £150 across these five, it is going to receive exactly 10% of the 150. Now, in the Vanguard developed world, my allocation to this is 20%. So 20% of the 150 is going to go there. I've also got 20% in the S&P 500. Now, the S&P 500, as you know, is the United States. It's a US-centric ETF. That's the the top 500 companies in the world, but essentially in the US, diversified across a number of sectors. The Vanguard FTSE Developed World is a developed world ETF. So you'll have a little bit of America in there, you have UK, you have Europe. It's basically West, it's the Western world, developed world. Then you've got the SPDR Russell 2000. And what that essentially is small cap in the United States. One thing I would strongly encourage you to do, if you are selecting your ETFs, by all means, make sure that you are looking at the key investors information and the fund fact sheet, because that is going to give you information that is going to be pertinent to your decision around whether you should or should not select this ETF based on what your overarching goals are and the level of risk that you essentially want to take. I think we're going to download this, see what opens up so I can just show you. It gives you the investment objectives here. So it says the objective of the fund is to track the performance of smaller US companies. So it is the small cap. In terms of the risk rating, it is a 6 out of 7. So it's pretty high risk. It is small cap after all. There's going to be a lot of movement within that space, but within that movement, you can lose a lot of money. You could also make a lot of money, hence why it's a 6. Do browse this. Do make sure that you actually pay attention to some of this information. You're going to see some of the past performance in there. So in 2020, what did this do? The fund is in purple. So in 2020, this did 19.4% versus the benchmark or the index that is benchmarked against did 19.5%. So not too bad in terms of performance. But again, you need to know this stuff and make sure you're paying attention to it. Right, I'm going to come back out of this and go back into the portfolio. So I've got 5 of them. Let's just go back into the portfolio right now. And the last one I've got in here is the emerging markets iShares MSCI ETF. Again, you can click on this and you can go and have a look at the key investors information and the fact sheet as well. Strongly encourage you to basically go and do that. Now, if you've built your portfolio, you can have as many ETFs in here as possible. So let's just say I wanted to add securities. What I would do is go on here and, for example, if I wanted, let's just say I wanted something in the UK, if I type UK here, it's going to give me UK. So UK ETFs that are available to them. They have over 150 ETFs at this point in time. There will be more coming on stream, but to launch this, they've got a good selection already. And I think one of the big advantages of this is the fact that oftentimes DIY investors will get very, very confused and bogged down in, I've got so much choice, I don't know which one to choose. And then the research becomes a little bit more difficult. These ETFs are specially selected by the investment team over at InvestEngine. And these guys are professionals, so they know what they're looking at. One of the things that they will be bringing to the table fairly soon is effectively an ETF walkthrough, where you're going to get to see what an ETF is actually invested in. It's designed to give more transparency and more confidence in you using them and knowing exactly where the ETF is invested. That can only be a good thing, can only give you confidence when you're investing, and will aid greatly with your research and making sure that you've got a portfolio that is robust, that is weighted appropriately, and sits within your convictions of your investment ethos and your investment strategy. So I think that's a really good tool. But if I wanted to add, for example, this iShares MSCI UK small cap, I could actually do that. All I would do is click onto it here, add on to portfolio, and that will be added to my portfolio. Now I've got 6 securities. I can go and review, and lo and behold, where is it? It's right there at the bottom. Now, if you want to tweak your weighting, so your weightings are all about what proportion of your investment is going to be allocated to each of these ETFs. Because I've got 5 and they're equally distributed at the moment. So I've got 25% in the emerging markets, 25% in the Russell 2000. I've got 20% each in the S&P 500, 20% in the developed world, and then 10% in the physical gold ETF. I would have to jig this and maybe move this around to accommodate for this particular ETF that I've just added. So for example, I might bring the emerging markets ETF down to 20%, the same thing with the Russell down to 20%. Notice it tells me that the weight total is 90%. So I need to adjust it to 100. So all I basically do there is just allocate that 10% to the UK small cap if I wanted to keep it within the portfolio. In my instance, for just testing this out, I actually don't want the UK small cap in there. So what I'm going to do, and it's very, very simple to delete ETFs from your portfolio once you've created it. I'm going to do that right now. You simply just click the bin button right there and it's completely gone. Obviously, it's now going to tell you that the 10% that I've allocated to that one that I've just deleted needs to be reallocated elsewhere. So I'm just going to go back up to my emerging markets ETF and the Russell 2000 and correct it so that the overall weighting of the portfolio is 100%. And it really is as simple as that. If I save this and I invest, I'm going to do the full 150, just review that order, and I confirm it. And there it is, the money will be invested for me right there. So the order is placed, should be fulfilled pretty quickly. Now, one of the great things that InvestEngine also do is they actually help you with rebalancing. So rebalancing is an important exercise to make sure that you're not overextending in a particular part of your portfolio. So for example, I've set within my portfolio here that I don't want more than 10% in physical gold. Now, if the prices of gold increases over a period of time and I've got profits, that will naturally push me out of my set allocation. So what rebalancing allows you to do is to rejig your portfolio ever so often and bring you back in line with where you actually want to be. It distributes the money in an equal fashion as you originally set it out to be. For a lot of DIY investors, this can be underestimated, it can be missed, but it's a really important thing, particularly when you're trying to maximize and really manage your portfolio to the best of your ability. So that's a really, really cool function, and that is pretty easy to do. You might decide that you want to rebalance every 6 months or every 12 months. Most professional institutions will rebalance once a quarter, twice a year. A lot of them have moved away from just rebalancing once a year. The reason why they do that is because markets move all the time. So if you're managing your own investments, you need to make sure that your portfolio is indeed in line and in tune with what's going on currently. You may want to take some risk off the table. You might want to increase risk in some areas or increase your exposure to a certain ETF. If you've got news or you're reading through research that tells you that you think that maybe the S&P 500 is going to do better, you might want to recalibrate that. So monitoring your investments and rebalancing, having a rebalancing schedule is really important, and they make it very, very simple to do within InvestEngine. So another thing that I think that they do really, really well, which I kind of alluded to at the top of this video, was the fact that for many DIY investors, the onus of your tax it's down to you. You have to keep track of your investments. You need to know when you've crossed your capital gains allowance in order to pay your capital gains tax. One thing that InvestEngine do that I think is phenomenal is they actually help you with calculating your CGT. So if you have your portfolio with them, they will actually do a capital gains tax report for you. And this can really help you stay on the right side of HMRC and help you stay on top of what tax you need to pay on your investments. This is just an example of the report that the guys at InvestEngine sent over to me for the purpose of this video. And as you can see in here, you can see what you actually hold, at what period of time, the quantities, the cost, the proceeds, the gain, the losses. So this will help you keep track of your CGT and what tax you're going to be due. And this, again, is something that they actually produce for you. So it's something that you don't have to worry about as a DIY investor. And for me, this is a big feather in their hat, because one of the questions I get all the time is, how do I know when I need to pay my CGT, or when am I going to cross my CGT allowance? It's down to you to monitor and to track. That's why you have accountants, I guess. But if you don't have an accountant, this is going to help you massively. Okay, so let's talk about minimums to invest with InvestEngine. You can invest with as little as £100. So not phenomenal amounts of money. The minimum is £100. You can set up simple direct debits into your account, and any money that you essentially invest on a monthly account will be invested according to the way you've set up your portfolio and the allocated weightings to your portfolio as well. It's designed to be really, really simple so that you can just literally just set your strategy and invest and not have to worry about it. Yes, you're going to need to rebalance, you're going to need to monitor it, but it's about giving you the ease so that you don't have to do more work than what is necessary. So £100 is the minimum amount to invest with them. I'm just trying to figure out whether it's anything else that I actually need to mention before I actually roll off and conclude this video. Also, if there are certain ETFs that once you open your account, you discover that they don't have, if you want them to be added to the platform, by all means, leave a comment underneath this video right now and just let them know. Look, it would be nice to see this ETF. The guys will be checking the comment section, or just contact them directly. They want your interaction in order to be able to build this out and make it usable for you. That is the most important thing really for them, making sure that they're of use to you and they're really giving power to your money. That's their slogan. And, you know, low cost and everything that they've set up right now really speaks to being able to deliver that for you. Is there anything else? Let me just double check. I don't think there is. No, that's it. So guys, let me know what you think of this video. Have you enjoyed it? Have you found it useful? Is InvestEngine something that you're going to consider perhaps for your investment journey? Like I said, they're giving you £50 to test out the platform. There is no excuse not to take advantage of that. The link is pinned to the comment section below. Remember, money is a tool, life is for living. If you've not listened to the podcast this week, go and listen to it right there. We've got a cracker on with a millionaire ex-trader from the city. He is amazing. You don't want to miss it. Catch you later on. Have an amazing week, guys.